As promised, let's stay with developments in Tshwane and speak to Multi-Party Coalition Technical Committee Chair, Dr. Corne Mulder, and of course, getting a sense of what exactly is going on there. Dr. Mulder, thank you so much for your time this evening. We've just spoken to the ANC in Tshwane, and they are using words like money has been stolen, this is a failure. They're putting it on the doorstep of the mayor. How do you respond? Because we've seen your statement as the multi-party government expressing disappointment at these audit findings.
Yes, let me start off by saying that we are extremely disappointed by the findings of the Auditor General's office, and we take it very seriously. The multi-party coalition government is absolutely committed to clean governance. We are absolutely against corruption, exactly for what we have seen under the ANC government for the last 29 years. We want to be exactly the opposite of that. So we take these findings very seriously, and we are dealing with them in terms of our own internal processes and own structures. However, I think it's interesting to note that, as you correctly pointed out earlier in the interview, that the financial year we are talking about is the 21-22 financial year. That financial year started in April. The election was only in November of that year. We started to govern basically as from January, the last 3 months of this specific financial year. But be that as it may, we are in the process of getting behind exactly what happened. And you also correctly pointed out, it seems that the CFO at the time, is now no longer in the employment of the City Council, may have been involved with deliberate actions in terms of not giving necessary information to the Attorney General, and because of that, certain findings were made. So we are absolutely committed to get behind all of this, and we will act in a transparent manner. And as we've said from the beginning, it's part of the legacy that we basically inherited from the ANC. I've listened to the colleague from the ANC. It's quite amazing that the ANC of all people are now blaming other people of stealing money and that they should take responsibility. But I guess it's a nice attempt by the ANC to once in their life try to be a real opposition party. It's quite interesting to notice.
As Tshwane residents, though, are watching tonight, they will be shocked by what is going on. And for them, it's not even about the blame game anymore. It's about money that is unaccounted for, and that is the nub of the problem. And if the multi-party government is in charge, where does it place the blame on the doorstep of? Is this the CFO or is it the mayor? Because essentially, at the end of the day, he is the head of the city.
Well, I think we must just wait a little bit before we accept the numbers that is being mentioned and try to understand what is exactly behind them. The fact of the matter is that the Auditor General's report has not been officially handed over to the council. Unsigned copy was given to the provincial legislature where the ANC governs. I don't know who leaked it from there. I don't know where it was leaked from, but it was leaked to the media. And if you look at some of these findings and some of these amounts being mentioned, it is clear that it's not that simple. For example, 10 billion is mentioned, but that is not dealing with the current financial year only. It's dealing with a number of financial years going way back into the past. So in the current financial year, it seems to be approximately, it could be 1.2 billion, but more than 500 million. Let me just explain. Some of these contracts that we found when we took over were irregular contracts. And then we went to court to have these contracts that the ANC agreed to set aside. The moment you set aside such a contract, all the money involved in that also then become classified as in unauthorized expenditure, etc. So it will take a while to get behind exactly what happened. And we are quite adamant. If there's any indication of theft or some corruption, we will be the first ones to act and take full responsibility and get people to accept that kind of responsibility. We will definitely do so because we're absolutely committed to show that we are serious in terms of clean governance and to fight corruption.
One of the things that the opposition parties have been very vocal on has been to say that the ANC is slow to act, particularly on issues around corruption. So tonight, residents are watching and they want to know how soon can they get answers.
Well, we are moving as quick as we can. As I've said, we have not received the official report. So at this stage, we cannot act on a leaked report. We have to receive the final correct report signed by the Auditor General. At the moment we have that, we can act. But we've already started acting. The Coalition Oversight Group, which is the control group that looks does some oversight over these coalitions, already met on Monday evening with the executive of the City of Tshwane. And we got a briefing in terms of their perception of what exactly is going on. We will most likely have another meeting tomorrow evening, and we will immediately take the necessary steps. And part of that remedial action that we will take will obviously be very close cooperation with the Office of the Auditor General so that we can implement the recommendations, but we will also get National Treasury involved to make sure that the necessary steps are taken. What concerns me, and I heard the colleague from the ANC, and that is typically what the ANC does, they did that last time as well. Immediately they threaten the council and the electorate out there now with the provincial government getting involved and try to place the city under administration. That's exactly what they did the last term, and we had to go to court to have that set aside. We cannot allow that. That will be an undermining of the votes and the will of the electorate in the city of Tshwane. But be that as it may, we really understand the importance and the significance of that, and we take it very, very seriously, and we will act without any holding back at whatsoever.
Have you written to the office of the AG to be able then to get the signed copy so that you then can be able to get the finalized numbers and move with speed to address this particular issue?
Yes, the report we received from the Executive Mayor on Monday evening in our meeting was that there is some interaction between the officials in the city of Tshwane and the Office of the Auditor General, and that the Auditor General's office did indicate that they will hand a written, signed final copy of the report during this week. So we are still waiting for that report as far as I know at this stage.
The ANC is mulling action against the mayor, and this, of course, as a mayor that is part of this multi-party coalition agreement, and this includes a motion of no confidence. How do you respond?
Well, that's a normal kind of thing that always happens. We take note that obviously the ANC in the province of Gauteng are under new management. There's a new premier, and the new premier wants to do everything that he can to perform so that the ANC can try to keep control of the province of Gauteng. And they are doing exactly the same. We are expecting a motion of no confidence in the city, in the mayor of the city of Johannesburg soon. They tried that and it failed in the city of Ekurhuleni. So that's all part of the bigger ANC strategy. And obviously that is exactly what they will do with regard to the mayor in the city of Tshwane. The fact of the matter is that the coalition government is a majority coalition. It's a very stable coalition, and we are addressing and dealing with these issues, and we will do what is necessary if the time comes. But at this stage, we cannot expect any political consequences to be taken unless we have the exact facts on the table. And then we can act and see who should take responsibility and who should not be blamed and where the blame should lie.
And is it only going to be disciplinary action that happens here, or are we going to see people in orange overalls? What is this accountability that you talk about in your statement as this multi-party government also look like? Because certainly people want to see people in prison.
Well, absolutely. If it's indicated, if we've got the final report and the numbers and the figures, as I've mentioned earlier, because the CFO withheld information from the Auditor General and he did not supply that information, certain adverse findings were made in terms of not having the right information. So we will have to take all those things up. Once that is being sorted out, and if there's then an indication of corruption or theft or whatever the case may be, then whoever was involved must accept full responsibility, and the law must take its course regardless of the outcome of that. We will also obviously investigate from our side, and if need be. Yes.
Pardon me for coming in there, Dr. Mulder. Has the mayor been able to explain to yourselves why the former CFO withheld this particular information? And that is, of course, a very, very serious thing to do. He should, of course, be facing criminal charges if that is even the case and even being disbarred. Dr. Mulder, I'm not sure if you can hear me. You were frozen for just a second there.
I know. It's load shedding, courtesy of the ANC.
Apologies.
No, we do not have an indication of why the CFO would do that, but it could be that we are in the process of appointing a new permanent CFO, and the previous one that was responsible for this also applied for that position. And then when it was indicated that we're going to ask for more nominations or more people to apply, I think he got the message that he's not necessarily going to get the job. If that played a role, I don't know. He will have to answer. He will have to answer in terms of why did he not give the information that is being sought by the Auditor General, which caused most of these findings that developed in that instance. And obviously we will go back and we'll make sure that we get all the information in that regard. The important thing is that the multi-party coalition remains and has always been, that's the principle on which we were formed right from the beginning, was in terms of transparency, clean governance, anti-corruption, and excellent service delivery to the citizens of all the metros and all the councils where we are involved, exactly to demonstrate what can be done as opposed to what the ANC did. I was a little bit astonished to listen to the colleague from the ANC trying to play the holier-than-thou role just now. South Africa is in a current mess because of the ANC. Just the load-shedding situation at the moment, it affects each and every business, each and every council, each and every household, and they blame us.
And certainly one hopes that you, as the multi-party government, then move with speed to try and get to the bottom of this matter, because one even wonders if you'll be able to have the CFO when it's time to account, and then possible criminal action here, because if these are figures that are bandied about and they make it to the final report, this is in fact concerning. But let me thank you for your time, Dr. Mulder. We'll then continue to track the story and hopefully get answers in the long run when you finally have that signed off report. That was a multi-party coalition technical committee chair, Dr. Corne Mulder.